I'm just trying to picture Morpheus going up to Neo and sounding like some fucked up Dr. Seuss character. Just looking at him like 1 pill, 2 pill, red pill, blue pill. It's just so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, this movie is the worst person you know's favorite movie of all time.
But it's okay because it makes for an excellent thing for us to talk about today. Hi everyone, I'm Kelton.
And I'm Devin.
That's right, no sup bitches this time, and we are talking about The Matrix.
Have you ever had a dream, Neo, that you were so sure was real? What if you were unable to wake from that dream? How would you know the difference between the dream world and the real world?
Garbage in, garbage out.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Gigo Show. And like we said before, talking about The Matrix today. It's going to be an interesting one, I think. How many people do you think have not seen The Matrix in the year of our Lord 2020?
I have no idea. I would assume every Mormon out there.
Well, I mean, how old were you when you saw The Matrix?
Yesteryear? I saw it last year on Netflix because Kelton told me to watch it because I hadn't seen it.
I feel like such a slave driver. Last episode, people were finding out that I forced you to watch Star Trek while pregnant, and now it's The Matrix. So, man, I cannot catch a break.
I'm so tortured. Please help me, everyone.
This is a legitimate cry for help. Please, I'm begging you.
I'm not being listened to at all.
Well, I guess for the people who don't know, for whatever reason, what The Matrix is, that's no one. Everyone knows what The Matrix is. It's a dystopian, cyberpunk kind of movie. It talks about how humanity is trapped inside a simulated reality by machines who use their bodies as an energy source. So we follow this guy named Neo, who is going to be the one, the leader of the revolution, and try and break free of The Matrix. It's a pretty cut and dry type of movie. It's pretty simple. A lot of people think it's like an allegory for Christianity or for trans issues or for the war against capitalism. But I think it kind of functions as like a Rorschach test of sorts of whatever baggage you're bringing into the movie is the thing that then you're going to see in the film itself.
Did you ever watch The Matrix as a kid?
I watched it as a kid like once, but it was this shitty VHS copy that my friend had. It was a TV version of The Matrix, so we had to fast forward through the commercials. It was just the fucking worst thing. And not to mention the fact that they cut out all of the R-rated stuff, so it wasn't like until 13, 14 that I actually managed to see the unrated, R-rated version of The Matrix.
The struggles that Zoomers will never understand.
Yeah, there were these tapes, okay? The video cassettes. And
you know those pencils? Yeah, they had other uses.
Oh, God, let's not try and incorporate that boomer-style humor to this. But I guess some background into the film before we dive all the fuck in. This film is made by the Wachowskis, and it was their vision for about 5 years prior to them actually making the movie. They went through about 14 drafts, and a lot of studio executives liked the concept, but they didn't really see how it would translate onto the actual movie screen. So the Wachowskis then decided to hire a couple of storyboard artists who did over 600 storyboards. So they made basically a comic book out of all of this. And then once they actually did that, then executives were pretty much sold on the idea, and they decided to go ahead and green light the film.
Question, is the comic book version available? Because I think that would be more interesting than this film.
Well, I don't know, actually. I'm sure there actually is a comic book. I'm not sure if
it's that comic book,
yeah,
that storyboard.
Yeah, because I mean, that would be very fun, I think, to flip through and see and how it compared and how much they brought it to life. Because I mean, the scene that a lot of people are super familiar with, the bullet time scene, is the thing that, number one, it got spoofed like over 20 times 3 years after it got made. Just, you know, Shrek
Alone.
2 and just, I mean, everyone decided to fucking do that. But it was probably for a good reason, because the main rumor at the time was that the studio, Warner brothers had such little faith in the actual project that they had given the Wachowskis $10 million of the $60 million budget, and the director spent the money on doing the opening scene, and that impressed the studio so much that then they decided to go ahead and greenlight the rest of the film. Now, how true that rumor is, I don't know. I mean, what we know for sure is that the first thing that the studio saw was the bullet time scene at the very, very beginning, and so that set the standard.
I can imagine that the special effects were super expensive. So is that why they filmed in Australia?
Well, I mean, that was one of the reasons. Most of the film was shot actually in Sydney, Australia, but they found it pretty hard to actually try and get that burned out American impoverished looking location. So they had to make a lot of the urban areas more or less from scratch. It actually brought the cost down significantly though to shoot in Australia, because what would have cost $180 million in the United States ended up only costing them $60 million. And then on top of that, they were able to use a whole bunch of sets from the 1998 film Dark City, and that was pretty cool. If anyone has not seen Dark City, you absolutely should. It's a phenomenal film. Gets very, very overlooked by everything. I highly recommend it. But one of the issues that did come up while filming was that they violated Australian airspace, and they actually had to resume filming that famous helicopter scene that happens towards the end with like a 6-month gap in between, because they had to wait for a new law to get drafted, get passed, get enacted, and then take effect for them to actually be able to finish that rescue op that then we see.
I honestly don't get why it's so expensive to pay to film like run down places. Is that why we don't fix anything? It's because we're making money off of it.
That's right. That's the reason that we never try and fix our American infrastructure, is that then we are able to utilize it for future dystopia instead of our current present day.
You mean we're not in a dystopia?
We're in many things. We might even be in the Matrix.
Oh no.
Whoa, man, so cool. This is becoming like the worst, weed circle, smoking circle type conversation anyone can have. So I guess we might as well go ahead and get into the plot. You wanna take it away, Devin? Where do we start with the Matrix?
At an abandoned hotel in a major city with a woman that we later get to know as Trinity. She's cornered by a police squad, but quickly overpowers them with superhuman abilities, because it's that kind of movie.
Yeah, it's a superhero film. Like, it's all leather, it's all super dark. It's the most that 1999 had to offer. The opening action scene actually took 6 months of training and 4 whole days to shoot, which is just an insane amount of time.
It's just the early version of Justice League.
Weirdly enough, there was like a Justice League movie that they wanted to make in the mid-90s that George Miller, the director of Mad Max and Happy Feet, he
What?
he has like the weirdest filmography in the world, but he wanted to do his own like Justice League movie. They got pretty much most of the pre-production done, like they had even made some of the outfits and stuff. It was gonna be pretty interesting. And then when the Superman film directed by Kevin Smith starring Nicolas Cage kind of petered out, that was the thing that officially killed the project. I might be confusing the timelines a little bit, but that's kind of the story behind it. So it was an interesting point, I guess, that made the Matrix what it walked into. So
I mean, now all I want is a Happy Feet Mad Max. I don't know. Dress some penguins up. Have some gay dads.
Gay penguin dads
Yeah.
in the Mad Max world.
Yes.
How would that work? Because the whole concept is that water is short in Mad Max, and then Antarctica or wherever they live in the North Pole, like they have only water.
It's a different type of desert.
It's just salt, is what it is. God, see, it's the Star Wars planet. Okay, so then what happens next?
She's running, being chased by police and a mysterious group of suited agents capable of same powers she has. She answers a ringing telephone and vanishes before the agents hit her with a truck.
Well, it's not just a truck; it's a garbage truck. That's fine. I mean, I just think that it's got to be a weird thing for that guy to have to explain to his boss. Like, I understand that it's all computer programs or whatever, but to just, be like when the agent phases out of his body and he's just like, what the fuck happened? Oh my God, we were on our route. Then all of a sudden we crashed into a telephone pole. I have no idea what occurred. It's just this out of body experience. Who knows? Maybe that's what happened. Doodle-doodle-doo. So then what happens? Introduce us to the main character, the Mr. Thomas Anderson.
I didn't know that was his real name. I only knew him as Neo. Neo. He is a hacker known as Neo, I guess. They just call him that the entire thing.
Which, I mean, like, kudos to him for grabbing that screen name. Like, those short, cool-sounding screen names are next to impossible to try to get. Like, if you're trying to get, like, Cool Guy as your screen name, it's always taken, so you have to do something weird, like Cool Guy 1999, Cool Guy
Nemo.
420, Cool Guy 1488, different kind of story. Never mind. All right, going ahead. Yeah.
So Neo is in the middle of hacking, and he sees on the screen the Matrix, and a group of people, don't know if they're the friends or whatever, show up and go, hey, let's go to a club. And then he goes out and Trinity finds him.
He goes to follow the white rabbit, if you will, which is what the computer screen was telling him. Kind of an important part, literally the call to action of the entire film. One of the things that instigates it. I guess it doesn't really matter. No one really remembers, like, the first act of this movie anyway, so
he's just Alice in
yeah.
Alice in Wonderland.
Whoa, it works on that level too. It's such, like, a
Whoa.
deep movie, man. Like, oh my god, it's so cool. So then Trinity goes ahead and reaches out to him at the club. She lets him know that there's a man named Morpheus, and he has the answers that Neo is seeking. And so we need to try and track down Morpheus. And so we're introduced to this concept of Morpheus, and there's this, conspiracy possibly afoot. And then it's a hard smash cut into what Neo's day-to-day life is when he wakes up and is getting bitched at by his boss in the most 1999 cubicle farm, he's a software programmer kind of world that the late 90s had to offer.
They did not show his job. They were just like, he's in a cubicle.
Yeah, and then we get a wonderful little cameo from FedEx delivery man, who then able to say, hey, here's a cell phone. Neo pulls out the cell phone and
It immediately rings.
oh, that's right.
Because they can see everything. So Morpheus says, hey, don't look now, but look now. There's agents after you. Like, don't let them see you. Go across here. All right, now go this way when I tell you. Only when I tell you. And so we're kind of thrown into the action of him running away and jumping onto a terrace, crawling across a building. Woohoo. Morpheus is saying that he needs to get to a telephone so that they can yank him out. And then he doesn't get there in time, and he is captured, unfortunately. And the agents that you meet are Smith and who? Is there another one? Or are they just Smith?
Well, we don't get told, I think, the names of the other one.
Okay. Well, only one has an identity then.
Yeah.
The other ones are
Agents
nobody.
1 and 2. Cool guy, number 1. Cool guy, number 2. And then they interrogate him, and they ask him all of these questions, and they make it seem like he is going to be their key to trying to crack this terrorist hacker group. And it should be stated at this point in time that the entire cast could have looked remarkably different than what it was. With Neo, originally the studio wanted Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt, and famously Will Smith turned down this role so that then he could star in Wild Wild West, that other movie that we covered. And then the woman playing Trinity, Carrie-Anne Moss, some people, the younger Zoomers, might recognize her as Jerry Hogarth from the Netflix Marvel world. She's the super lawyer that kind of the Nick Fury of that world, if you will. And this was her first major acting break. But another person that was considered for this role was Sandra Bullock. So we missed out on the possibility of a Speed reunion, and that would have been interesting. But the weirdest one, I think, hands down for me, was that Agent Smith was going to, at one point, be Christopher Maloney, who was in Law & Order SVU. He's also been in Happy, if anyone watches him from that. He's the main guy there. And he was turned down, and instead they got Hugo Weaving, good old Elrond himself, who decided to give Agent Smith the signature 1950s news announcer Walter Cronkite kind of voice.
I think the weirdest duo that would have happened would be David Duchovny.
David Duchovny.
Okay, that's weird to say. and Gillian Anderson, both from X-Files. So instead of Keanu or Gary Ann Moss, would have had the X-Files people.
But before they actually were in the X-Files.
Is that at the same time or no?
I mean, this movie had been in pre-production for so long that who knows exactly how seriously they were considered for it. A lot of these facts are basically just someone jotted it down somewhere in some blurb, and then who wouldn't want, Ewan McGregor to be considered for the role of Neo, even though he was going to be in Phantom Menace. So we don't really know, but it's okay. We're on a bit of a tangent. We got to get back to it. Okay, we gotta figure out what all is going on here in this movie, because it's a lot. A lot of people think that this movie has a deeper meaning, and they're like, that actually in the first 45 minutes of the film, Neo has 80 lines, and 44 of those lines are questions, and so that's just over half of his total dialogue, and that averages out to like one question a minute. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that mean something? And I think that in reality, it's just the sign that the screenwriters, the Wachowskis, that they knew that the studio was insisting on a whole lot of explanatory dialogue, that they would kind of need to hold the hand of the audience all the way through this first movie. And they didn't want to kind of have something that no one understood.
Because the studio didn't understand it, nobody else would get it.
Yeah, if a coked up executive in the 90s doesn't quite understand your movie, it's not going to play in middle America. That's how they figure out the demographics. But so Neo gets picked up by the crew, by Morpheus's group, and then he's talking with Morpheus, and we get that famous scene, right?
Well, he gets a bug shoved in him first of all. Then Trinity yanks it out of him, so I don't know what the point of that was. Anyway, then he gets to Morpheus, and you get a red pill or you got a blue pill. Take one.
Now, which pill shows you the truth, and which pill lets you go back to your regular life?
The blue pill is like the forget everything and go back to sleep. Do. Mm-hmm. And then the red pill is wake up and learn the truth and die a hard death.
That's right, America. What you need to do right now is go ahead and take the red pill. We can't be one of these sheeple out here letting the government do God knows what. It's important that we, as strong Americans, get out there. We don't let anyone other than Q tell us what to do. We can't let this quarantine hold us back. We have to fight for our rights. We have to break free of the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen.
That blue pill contains a microchip. You don't know what they're gonna do with that microchip. Oh no.
I would like to see Morpheus and Alex Jones trying to have a conversation with each other. They actually might get along. I think that would be...
Alex Jones, I have black friends. See?
Oh, no. Oh, God. So, which one does Neo take, Devin?
The red pill.
Really? I thought it was the blue one, because that's the end of the movie. So,
you wish.
Yeah, so he takes the red pill, and then what happens?
He touches a mirror, and the mirror starts to, like, swallow him. I don't fucking know. And then they're like, he's dying. Shit, wake him up, track him down. So they did put a tracker in him, technically, with that red pill. Like, because they have to track him down. And they're like, when you take the red pill, and they're like, honing in on his location.
That's
true. That
is.
So they technically did put a tracker in it. God damn it. Republicans are right for the first time ever. So he wakes up in a pod, a gooey, icky pod with a freaking cord shoved down his throat and yanks it out.
In the scene where he does actually wake up from the pod, the pod was constructed to look dirty and used and have the sinister lived-in kind of vibe. But during the testing of the breathing mechanism for the pod that they were going to lock Keanu Reeves into, the tester ended up suffering hypothermia in under 8 minutes. And so the pod, they ended up just needing to be heated. So that's what has that like real like sticky goo kind of smell. Kind of smell. Kind of feel.
No! Yeah. I can't imagine the smell. Oh, God.
Oh,
Sticky
no.
Keanu Reeves.
Oh, God. Just shitting and pissing and it's... yeah, no, just just beautiful.
Moist.
Yeah.
Moist. So he gets flushed out of the system after he gets unplugged by a robot thingy that we see. And Morpheus and his ship Nebuchadnezzar come in and scoop him up before he drowns completely.
Which, I mean, I know that it seems like a major plot hole that, well, why did they flush him instead of killing him? But, maybe the robots are operating this giant aquaponics type of tank about where then they just kind of let the goo people, can I say goo people? Is that a politically correct term? Anyway, they let the goo people die, and then all of their body breaks down into nutrients. Then that's what feeds all of the other batteries.
I think Star Trek has trademarked goo people.
Oh, is that because of Odo?
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
Referencing last episode.
It's not like...
Done. Check.
Well, for the second time we referenced this. But this is where I need to really just go into a larger critique about this film, in the sense of, I get why people like this movie, okay? In 1999, amazing. I'm sure. It's great. However, in 2020 lens, I cannot let go of the fact that it seems way too on the nose and it seems way too tropey. I get that this is the thing that a lot of tropes are built out of, in the same way that I respect like the original Star Wars movie, but we as a culture have moved so far beyond this that then when they're like, oh, hey, guess what? My name's Morpheus from the God of Dreams. I have a ship. It's called the Nebuchadnezzar. The name for that Bible character who has dreams he can't interpret and is looking for answers. Oh, yeah, this is all really deep and cool. I mean, it just seems like smoke a blunt, take one philosophy 1401 course.
You're shitting in your own horn. I don't know if that's a reference. All right. As Neo is recuperated and acupunctured to death.
That probably just felt like amazing, like for the first couple times. Like, oh man, man, my shoulder's been acting up ever since I got flushed. It's just kind of been out of whack. So
watch
them
so not have gotten a professional and just like repeatedly stabbed him for no reason.
In this weird dystopia that they have licensed acupuncture people, I don't think that they have
Was Tank a licensed acupuncturist?
He probably was. That guy is like the MVP of the entire movie. But okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Yeah.
So as he's recouping and building up those sexy muscles, Morpheus explains the truth.
Hold on, I understand.
Hey,
Keanu Reeves is a very attractive man. Do we see him without his shirt on, like in the entire film? Aside of him being a goo person. Like, you say sexy muscles, but...
No, he's in the...
Where are the sexy muscles?
Oh, God. Isn't he in the fight scene with Morpheus?
When he has, like,
shirtless?
his actual karate outfit on?
I thought he was shirtless.
No.
Well, I don't know. In the chair?
In
no.
the chair? No. He has a
on
sweater
the acupuncture table. He's naked.
Yes, when he had lost 15 pounds and shaved his whole body, so then he would look like dehydrated and emaciated and like.
All right, well, fuck you.
That's your idea of what sexy muscles look like. Look at him with his tiny bird bones and atrophy. Look at that atrophy.
Yes, Harry Potter. Looking motherfucker. All right. Anyway. God, don't ruin my fantasies.
It's not a fantasy.
I can imagine sexy muscles. That karate shirt. It's looking very buff right now. Anyway, fuck it. Alright. In the early 21st century, there was a war between humans and the intelligent machines. AI. Ooh. Alright, and then the humans were like, hey, well, they run on solar power, so let's fuck them over and, like, destroy the sky. And that did not work out for them.
As it turns out, the robots were incredibly pro-fracking, and so they got their energy from just digging to the core of the earth. which was very odd. But Governor Hickenlooper from Colorado just completely on board with this. He welcomed the robot overlords, Tesla branded corporations.
Canada funded them.
No, it was a fantastic time all the way around. Or at least that's kind of what I'm imagining. So.
All right. So the machines went around the humans and were like, well, fuck you. You'll be our energy source. Okay, thanks. So they put them all in pods and they pumped goo into babies. God, that was a horrifying scene.
Oh, yeah. That was just awful CGI.
I was like, that rubber baby. Ah! Still.
That was my Woman in Red scene when they're like, oh, this will be a thing that can distract you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, no.
No, for me, I'm still thinking about the baby. Oh, God. Yeah. So the Matrix put everyone into simulated reality. We're all living in it. And we got to be on the lookout because if you pay attention, you can tell that the world is fake, man. That's not you feeling paranoia or having, once again, another dissociative episode. That's you realizing the truth. That's what twins are. They're
deja vu.
They're code in the Matrix that's fucking up. That it was written clearly by someone who had a fear of twins, had that weird phobia.
And black cats.
I mean, everyone has a fear of black cats. I mean, unless, you're a single girl in her mid to late 20s. Then you're like, oh my God, I'm a black cat because I'm a witch deep down? Let me tell you my astrology sign and why my last 5 boyfriends didn't work out. It wasn't because I stole $3,000 from him. It was simply because he was an Aries. And he wouldn't respect the fact that a Pisces is going to do what a Pisces is going to do. Which is steal $3,000.
God, my next boyfriend's a Cancer. It'll totally work out.
If not, I'll give him cancer.
Oh, God. So the machines have now taken over the world and fed us to tiny babies. The city of Zion is still remaining somewhere,
Symbolism.
Oh.
Only Zion remains. Oh, it's so woke.
The only refuge of last humans.
Can you imagine how great it would be if they decided to just do the Matrix, but they instead chose the Hindu mythology instead of the Judeo-Christian one? And I think that although it wouldn't play as well to Western audiences, I think that it would be a richer backstory for people to look into, and it wouldn't seem just so fucking simplistic. Because how many times have people heard of oh, it's the Jesus metaphor, or oh, it's a Messiah, or anything else? It just seems like you would avoid some tropes and have a longer shelf life. But again, they weren't expecting this movie to be anything other than a one and done. So I'm going to try and not hold that against them too much.
So Morpheus and his group of ragtag little hellions are trying to unplug as many as they can, and recruit them to their efforts to free all of humanity. And they have studied the Matrix so much that they can manipulate the Matrix and change themselves in the Matrix to come off as having superhuman abilities, like the agents.
They're hackers, so they're able to get the cheat codes to how things work. And the way that they see the Matrix and as it's presented is in the now classic green text that runs top to bottom on the screen. Mm-hmm. And the thing that I find the most interesting about that was that it was actually created by the production designer scanning his wife's sushi recipes from a cookbook. And that's the thing that he got inspired by. I was like, whoa, this looks so cool. Can't wait to put this in my movie. Also, no one take my wife's sushi recipes, please.
All right. So Morpheus tells Neo that if you die in the Matrix, you're dead in real life. So be the fuck careful.
Whoa, that's never been done before. Crazy. If you die in the game, you die in real life. Sorry.
This is the first thing. This is what it took. Everything took from this movie. And the agents are also manipulating the code because they're sentient computer programs that are supposed to eliminate the threats to the system. And then the machines that are chasing the ship, Nebuchadnezzar, are called Sentinels, and they will kill you in real life. So, 2-part team. Neo starts doing his Miyagi training.
So they have to try and figure out how to make sure that Neo can function actually in the Matrix. And so they decide to go through the training montage of training montages to get Neo all caught up to speed. And that's where then he does all this training through virtual combat because Morpheus believes that Neo is the one. Never mind the fact that Neo just, you bounce the letters around, you get one. But again, whatever. It's fine. He's the prophesied Messiah. He's going to bring it into the world. Not the world, the machines. Yeah. That'd be a weird reality. Morpheus is just a doomsday cult. He's like, no, you're the Messiah. You mean I'm going to beat the machines, Morpheus? No, you're going to lose to them. The machines will win.
You're going to end everything.
Finally, we'll be free of this hell. I can stop eating this like weird watered down Chex Mix looking shit.
Cypher will be happy.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all over.
I mean, he is the one who seems to be taking it the most to heart about the differences between the real world and the Matrix. Because, man, the tinting just of this movie is so obvious. Like, all of the scenes that take place in the Matrix have that green tint that we've come to know and love. Like you're looking at it through a computer monitor, man. Whoa. And
or the code itself, because it's green.
Yeah. And then scenes of the real world have a blue tint to them, which is kind of weird because blue is one of the least occurring colors in nature. But whatever, fine. I guess they were thinking blue planet. Fuck it. Sure. Great. Whatever. I don't know. But then the classic scene that happens in the training between Morpheus and Neo, as Morpheus is trying to get Neo to catch up on everything, that's tinted yellow. So, because it's a matrix within the matrix. It's got levels to it. It's a very complicated work. You have to be very cool and have a huge IQ to understand the Matrix. Matrix fans in 1999 like grew up to have kids that were then Rick and Morty fans.
Yeah,
and
damn it.
just the awful fan bases there. So
after he is all karate kitted up, they go into the Matrix and go to the Oracle, who is some old lady, obviously. So, and she's the one who prophesied everything that's happened so far. And, she sees everybody individually and tells them what their future holds. Ooh. She's pretty much just like your neighborhood psychic. She'll read your palm. She goes, she reads Neo's palm and goes, nah, you ain't the one, but, either you'll die or your mentor will die, so good luck with that.
And I think it's at this point, because I'm going to be the first to fess up, it's at this point in the movie when we were rewatching it that I may or may not have fallen asleep. Not going to say that there was a lull in the action here, but I dozed off. I didn't really feel like I missed anything because I remembered most of it. But one thing that is worth noting is that there was a deleted subplot that reveals that Morpheus had previously believed about 5 other people to be the one, and all of them died while trying to fight the agents. So, like, as it was originally laid out, this is the 6th time Morpheus has gone to the Oracle with someone he believes is the one, which they expand on later in the sequels, but we're not going to talk about the sequels. And so I just really like the idea of the Oracle realizing that Morpheus is just bringing lambs to the slaughter each and every time, because this is just the 6th attempt of all of this.
But I mean, he keeps profusely saying you have to be the one. I know you're the one. And I think that's just him trying to convince himself, because this is his last ditch effort before he's gone. He is old as fuck.
Morpheus is not old in this movie. What are you talking about?
He looks very old.
No. Lawrence Fishburne was probably in his early 40s.
Oh no.
Yeah.
What did he do to himself?
Nothing.
Or did they age him? Or
no, he looks great in the movie. What are you talking about?
I don't know.
Okay.
I guess he always looks old to me.
Okay, I'm going to look it up right now. What do you think the age difference is between Keanu Reeves and Lawrence Fishburne.
Probably like 20 years, 30 years. I don't know. I feel like he's like 70 right now.
Okay. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Okay.
Lawrence Fishburne is 58 years old.
God.
Okay?
Looks
So
like he's about to die.
So he was 40 when that happened in The Matrix.
Oh no.
Keanu Reeves is 55 years old. There's
No!
only a 3-year difference
No!
between Morpheus, the aged mentor.
What happened to baby?
Yeah. Yeah, what are you talking about? That's insane.
God. Whatever. All right. Never mind. Fuck you.
They could have attended the same high school. That's how little of an age gap there was. Morpheus would have been a senior, and then Neo would have been a sophomore.
Still. So, the group is ambushed by some agents, and tactical police, tipped off by Cypher, that little snake bitch.
Are you saying there was a Judas among the group? Whoa, it's so deep. Oh, it's so deep.
God. Anyway, and Cypher is just desperate to get back into the Matrix, and he's like, get me a pretty little life, yo. So...
Yeah, he's talking with Agent Smith, and he's like, I know it's not a real steak, but...
it's steak to me.
Yeah. Do you think he did that like with anything else too? And be like, I know this isn't a real puppy, but it's a puppy to me. Later on, it's just like, I know it's not a real dick, but it's a dick to me.
Yeah, like, if you're whacking it off in the Matrix, are you actually feeling your own dick? Are the robots feeling you up and then, like, putting your actual junk into the Matrix?
Yeah, how does reproduction work in the Matrix world?
I mean, like...
There's definite artificial insemination, otherwise this is the last generation of people.
I mean, like, if you're feeling yourself, and then you get yanked out of the Matrix, and you feel yourself again, you're like, this is not my dick. I was 12 times bigger in there. Like, what are their dimensions? What are they doing? Like, are they just giving every man, like, a tiny dick?
In the Matrix or
Yes.
in real life?
Because they said that everything is based on, like, misery, so you're miserable, obviously, if you have a tiny dick. Clearly.
That's why I'm one of the most miserable people alive.
I mean, the whole misogyny, like, point of this.
Cypher is in the middle of attacking everyone in the real world because they're lying defenseless since they're all stuck in the Matrix. And Morpheus allows himself to be captured so that way then the crew can escape. And Cypher is killing off the crew, unplugging them. Things are getting dramatic because people are dropping like flies. But he's eventually killed by Tank. Hell yeah, Tank, the crewman who survived just a full-blown fucking zap to the chest.
It wasn't to the chest.
What?
Dozer got shot in the
yeah.
chest.
R.I.P.
Tank got shot in the shoulder.
Oh, well,
like, in the back.
Still, that could wipe you. It's electricity. It still courses through your body.
He's a young man. Watch him be 65. I have no sense of time, apparently.
Of age.
Of age,
yeah.
whatever.
That seems like it's an important thing.
16-year-old boy versus 60-year-old man.
That's basically Timothy Chalamet for people.
Oh, no.
So, what happens next? Where are we at?
Tank is, after Tank yanks Neo and Trinity out of the Matrix, and is there anybody else alive, or no?
Trinity?
I said Trinity.
Oh.
Trinity and Neo.
Oh.
There's nobody else left.
No, I don't think so.
All right.
R.I.P.
Anyway, so he yanks them two out, and he is saying, like, the agents are hacking his brain pretty much, and they're gonna find out the codes, and Morpheus is too important. They can't find out the codes because Zion is sacred, and it's the last place. So he's like,
where else are we going to throw our cave raves? Come on. It's the only place we got. Greg won't allow... his parents kicked him out. We can't go hang out with him anymore, so...
This ship is a ghost town. Who wants to party on this? So they're like, we should just kill Morpheus, obviously. And then Neo goes, no, this is what I was told was gonna happen. Like... I need to go back in. Put me in, coach.
And this is where the movie just kind of really goes into, I think, every nerd's like real fan fiction element a little bit. He goes in, he's like, I'm gonna need guns, lots and lots of guns. And then there's the super famous lobby shootout that's super cool and has the techno music playing, and everything's well and good when you think about how this movie came out on March 31st of 1999, and then the Columbine shooting happened on April 20th of 1999. Not to say that one thing led to the other, but just it's some very interesting timing points, I'm sure, because there are people who are like, this is a tragedy. Oh, this is miserable. I need to take my mind off things. I'm going to go see that movie, The Matrix. People really seem to like that. Just worst week of their lives. So they kind of are shooting or fighting their way up, and then they're able to actually rescue Morpheus, because Neo is gaining confidence in his abilities, and then he's able to basically become equal with the agents because of that rooftop scene, when the agent is shooting at him.
But he wasn't fast enough.
That's right. That other bullet time scene that you thought was the bullet time scene.
That's what I thought you were talking about. So they finally get to an exit phone, and Morpheus and Trinity get out in time, but some homeless man spots them disappearing out a telephone, and the agent takes him over, and Smith is closing in on Neo and shot the phone out of Trinity's hand. So Neo is now stuck.
He's now having to go face to face against the agent, right?
Yes.
And
again,
they fight. There's a chase sequence, and then Neo just fucking dies. Just gets he dies, and that's like while the Sentinels are attacking the Nebuchadnezzar, and Trinity is whispering to Neo, like, oh, you can't die. Like, I love you. Oh, I never got a chance to tell you.
The Oracle told me I was supposed to love you, so that's the only reason why I love you.
They're really putting a lot of faith in this Oracle person who exists only in the Matrix.
Why wouldn't you trust an old black woman?
Because we don't
who
know
tells you her
an
future.
old black woman. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. She then kisses Neo, and then the power of love helps Neo come back, and he totally goes full-blown Jesus mode, and he's able to then perceive and see all of the sushi menu code that makes up the Matrix, and so then he's able to defeat Smith just in time.
Without looking and behind his back.
It just was a very interesting fight. I mean, all of the choreography, I guess, beforehand, I was very impressed by, of course, in that, while him and Agent Smith are fighting in the subway, that just seemed wonderful. But the way that they ended the fight after he goes full-blown Jesus mode, but where he jumps into Agent Smith and then Explode cracks him from the inside out, just seems some real, like, Spy Kids level shit.
Yep.
Just come on. That doesn't seem to be very cool. But it ends with Neo making a phone call and saying that he's going to show everyone in the world that anything is possible. Then he hangs up and becomes Superman, basically, because he flies off. And he's like, yeah! And then new metal plays, and Rob Zombie collects his royalty check. So that was the movie overall, So what did you think about the movie? Did you like it? Did you hate it? I mean, like, did you like it better the second time, or what? What's your takeaway of this film?
I mean, it definitely, I don't think, deserved all the hype that it got from, like, all the people that I had met over the years who were like, oh, had you seen this movie? And I was like, no. And they're like, you have to see it. What the heck? This is the best movie ever. And, when Kelton finally made me watch it, I was like, okay. And, like, what was the point? But I guess I didn't grow up with it, so I'm not, like, in that whole boat with everybody. I don't know.
it wasn't one of your sacred texts growing up because you weren't
Yeah.
an angry white boy. So, I like this movie a lot. I certainly think at the time it deserved, I mean, all of the Academy Awards that it got: visual effects, sound mixing, film editing, sound editing. And I think that, the cultural legacy, both of bullet time, but then also of whatever blank pilling, is going to be something that we're not going to be able to shake out of our culture.
Yeah.
And then also in 2016, DARPA began working on this thing called the Targeted Neuroplasticity Training, or TNT, which involves the use of electrodes put at the base of the neck and the use of electrical impulses to influence a person's neurotransmitters. The purpose is to allow agents to learn languages and other complex subjects in a fraction of the time. It's real. We're trying to make it happen. It's
You mean the whole training sequence of downloading information into your head? Oh no.
Yeah, that sounds absolutely miserable. But weirdly enough, unlike our Picard episode, third time that we're referencing it, the split between critics and fans is a little bit closer, and I think it's something that we should see. So, if we're going to be talking about who got it right, the critics or the fans, critics on average gave it a 7.4 out of 10, and fans gave this movie an 8.2 out of 10. So, which side are we leaning on here? Which one do you think is more accurate?
I mean, I think for a first, I'm going with critics.
Wow, just selling out already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a sellout.
I think the fans nailed it. I don't think it's as amazing as some people will think it is, but I think 8 out of 10. It's a very good movie. I can appreciate it, and that's what makes the sequels hurt me so much inside. What we'll never talk about. So
You'll never make me watch.
that's right.
Yay! I'm free. You hear that?
This time around.
Damn
only,
it.
Only this time. So yeah, I guess that's gonna do it as an episode. We're trying to keep it a little shorter, a little sweeter, not a 2-hour extravaganza like last time. But do we have anything to plug, Devin? I mean, they're already listening to the Gigo show, so that's nice. That's good for us. I guess if you want, go ahead and leave us a review on iTunes, or subscribe to us on Spotify. Let us know what y'all like, what y'all don't like. We're still evolving the formatting a little bit. Still trying to figure out a way to make these episodes a little bit crispier, a little bit more entertaining. So just go ahead and hit me up on Twitter at Sex Confetti, or hit up the show at Gigo Podcast, GIGO Podcast. Devin's not on Twitter, but if you want to talk to her, I'll just show you the messages that y'all send them to the podcast Twitter, I guess.
Who wants to talk to me? Ew.
I'm sure there's someone. Your Destiny clan will want to talk to you. You guys can talk about The Matrix, and you can pretend that you've seen the sequels.
Totally.
Just say it's bad, and aren't those twins weird, and you'll be good. Oh, one other thing before I forget, probably the most important thing of all. If you want to watch the movie with us live, we do Monday movie nights in the Psychic Dolphin Garage Discord, and at least until the Gigo Discord decides to spread its tiny little wings and be able to grow into the mighty phoenix that it needs to be, resurrecting like Neo, I guess, and becoming a Superman of its own. Go ahead and join the Discord, and as always, just know that we love you. Bye.